Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and we've got a box opening, and this is the HobbyKing Cessna TTX. It's a 1.1 meter wingspan. Its body is 700 millimeters. It's got a weight without the batteries of 675 grams. If you stick in a 1500 milliamp battery, it's supposed to be 800 grams. It says it's got a thrust to weight ratio of 1 to 1.3, so that means it should go vertical. The motor is a 350/30 1200 kV, 30 amp brushless ESC, 6 9-gram servos. Propeller is an 8 by 4.5, and I'll probably end up sticking a 2200 LiPo in it. Let's get the box open and see what's inside. Now, before we start, I must confess I have had this piece out and I have had the undercarriage out. Let's start with the undercarriage and I'll explain what I've done. This is the wire undercarriage for this plane. These are the little skirts or socks or shoes that go on the wire undercarriage for this plane. These are the wheels that came off that undercarriage. So the first thing I did is you take the socks away, and that's what I was left with. Now, in all the best will in the world, I am not going to take off a grass airfield on those wheels. So I ordered bigger wheels, but the hubs were too big for this wire undercarriage. So I've done a couple of things. First thing is I've cut the hubs out of the wheels I ordered. I ordered 10 of these. They're really cheap from China, and I've been doing some experimenting. So by cutting the hub out, and this wheel can be pushed into that hole, and if I line it up properly, it can now go on, and it is a much better and bigger wheel for the grass field. Now, in order to secure those, all I need to do is use contact adhesive around the wheels when I push them together. Use a flat surface to make sure that at least one side is lined up flat, so when it rotates it's not wobbling all over the place like that is. And I've made 2 of those. So that's my first option, to use those. The problem with that is this is the nose wheel undercarriage spar, and with a bigger wheel it won't go on. That was the size of the nose wheel, that compared to that. So I've taken this out and I've made a replacement. That's why I've had the fuselage out. In case they don't work, I've got a contingency or a backup item. These. Now the problem with these, they're heavier. So they're option number 2. There it is, a nice wire undercarriage. It pops in and bolts in. It's got this little fairing on it. Keep that out because we'll come across it later. Horizontal tailplane. You can see it's got carbon rod buried into both. Horns already attached. And it's got a plastic connector across them. It's very good. I quite like that. It's pretty plain, but I love the black and white striping. Love it. 3-bladed props, and you get a spare with it. Fantastic. I love the idea of having a spare with it. Here's your rudder. It's fabric hinges, card hinges, and you'd have to glue those into the vertical tailplane, which is part of the fuselage. It's already got the horn attached. The only thing I'm not keen on these, they don't have plates on the other side, so it looks as though these are glued in. So what I might actually do is drill holes either side of these, put some tiny servo mounting bolts through each side, make my own little plexi card plate and bolt them together just to be safe, and it's a type of work I don't mind doing. All one piece wing. And look at this, the ailerons, very thin ailerons, but they're reinforced down here. Servo already attached, horns already attached, push rod, everything attached. Absolutely fantastic. Here's your flaps. Don't look as though they're reinforced, but why should they be? But they're super type hinges, which means it can drop down quite far. All the wiring's covered up. It's got a light, looks like it's got a running light on the front, and it's got wingtip lights as well. And this is the amazing thing about this plane, is all the wiring goes to a central panel, and these are spring-loaded pins, and when you attach the wings to the fuselage, you make all the connections you need. So there's no running wires, you just bolt it in. And the plane is so small, I mean, it's a 1.1 metre wingspan, 1100 millimetres. It's just going to go straight into the back of the car. And it's all done for you, it's all set up. It's absolutely amazing. There she is. Love the colour, lime green. Whole canopy comes off, a big canopy, but it doesn't have a pilot in it. And there's your interior with a board. Again, I like these boards. It's got the rudder and front steering wheel already connected, and it's got your elevator. It says it's a 30 amp Beck speed controller. It's just a black generic speed controller, but it's already got a rubber mat and a battery belt, and it's got a place where you put your receiver. Yeah, so that should be quite good. Love this canopy, it's massive. That clips in quite nicely. Now obviously I've had the nose of this for the engine cowling off, because I have replaced the original strut for the undercarriage. The undercarriage was like this. I've made this much longer out this way because I tend to put a much fatter tyre on it. These are the unadulterated tyres. These are the ones I've cut up. If I pop that out, you can see how I cut the hub out. But for the nose wheel, because of this kink, I couldn't use these. It just wouldn't go on. So I made a new strut for the nose wheel. Got it all on, and that will now go over here. I've got to make the hole, the diameter of the wheel hole a bit bigger, because this is a bit thicker rod, but it will go over and that'll be quite good. That's what I've been working on. And this will probably be the next plane I build. So there it is, the Cessna TTX. So thanks for watching, stay safe, stay well. I look forward to you joining me on the next video. Cheers.